Hey, and welcome back to another episode of Cutting Through It. I'm Sherry Brody, your host, and today I am talking about something that I feel as hairstylists, we overlook a lot of things before we start to jump in and start marketing ourselves on social media and start doing things to start filling our books, because that becomes our first priority, right? We've got to have clients in our chair or we're not going to make the money. But I want to pose something with you before you begin to do that I think as a hairstylist, if we can start asking ourselves some serious questions before we start marketing, I think it will really help you as a hairstylist grow faster behind the chair, and not just grow faster, but start attracting clients that you really enjoy doing. And some of those questions are asking yourself, where are you right now in your journey as a hairstylist? I'm not asking you where you want to be. Or not where the stylist that you're following on Instagram is, or a stylist that you look to as your mentor is. I want you to ask yourself, where are you right now in your journey? For instance, if you are a new hairstylist that's just starting out, then what you are going to focus on is going to be very different from a hairstylist who's been doing it for a little while, but they're not seeing any growth or as much growth as they'd like. You see, one of the biggest mistakes that I see hairstylists make is trying to build their business behind the chair on where they wish they were instead of where they actually are. And you know, honestly, I speak from my own personal experience. Doing that and not really being real with yourself about where you are, it just leads to frustration. It leads to feeling low confident. It leads you to feeling really overwhelmed. And in essence, that's where burnout starts to happen. And that's why a lot of hairdressers find themselves leaving the industry before they see success. So today, I want to help you take a step back and evaluate where you are on your journey as a hairstylist. And I want to share with you and talk to you about what you should be focusing on next when you figure out where you're at on your journey. Are you a hairstylist who's working super hard, but you're still struggling with those holes in your books? Maybe you're wondering to yourself, how do I get more clients in my chair? How am I going to build a loyal clientele? But most importantly, how to create the kind of income and freedom that you dreamed about when you first started in this career. If so, you are in the right place. My name is Sherry Brody. I'm a hairstylist. I've been a salon owner, and I am someone who's rebuilt her clientele more than one time. I've made many mistakes along my journey, and I've learned a lot of lessons the hard way. And I've discovered what it really takes to build a successful career working behind the chair. Each week, I will share practical strategies, real-life experiences, and the systems that help hairstylists build confidence, attract the right clients, and create a fully booked chair. If that sounds like you, step behind the chair with me, and let's start building that business that you've been dreaming of. I was thinking about this week, and over the years, I've worked with a lot of hairstylists in all different stages of their careers. A lot of them were brand new, and a lot of were stylists that had been in it just enough time to know that they're needing some help, and they're struggling a bit because they're not having the consistent bookings that they're wanting. They're not getting the clients back in the chair. And I've worked with a few that have had to rebuild after a move or a life change and had to start over. And what I've noticed is that they're all following the same advice. They're posting more, they're working more, they're doing more. But what if the real answer is figuring out where you are first? Because honestly, once you're clear on where you are, it becomes much easier to know what to focus on next. And that's exactly what I'll be teaching inside my free fully booked chair workshop next Monday. I'm doing it live, guys. I'd love for you to be there. I feel like it's going to be more like a mastermind. I'm doing it via Zoom so that I can see all you guys and we can have a conversation. And I want to really help you identify where you are at in your journey as a hairstylist. In essence, I just want to help you get unstuck so you can achieve what you're dreaming of, a consistent clientele, but most importantly, income that's sustaining you and is just giving you the life that you're dreaming of. And also, if you attend live, you'll receive a special bonus. So I really encourage you to attend live because I put something together to help you put everything that I'm sharing on this workshop into action. If you want to register, go ahead and register over at my website, onpointhairbySherry, SHERRI.com. You'll find the link there. Let's get into the episode. So today on this episode, I really want to focus in on 3 different stages that hairstylists go through. And I want to focus on these because I feel like these are the stages that a lot of you that are tuning into this podcast or have visited my website, that these are kind of where you're at or where you might be feeling like you're at. So I just want to go through each one and see which one resonates most with you. And the first one is a stylist that is brand new. When you're first new to the industry, and this is where your focus is all about just getting your footing on being a hairstylist, learning how to talk to those clients and, figuring out your place in this industry. And the things that you really want to focus on here is not right away just posting on social media. Yes, you do want to be doing that. But there's some things that you want to really focus on first thing. If you are a new hairstylist within the first year, listen up on this one. The first one is really think about finding the right salon environment for you. This is so detrimental to you as a new hairstylist. If you are working in a salon or you've gone into a salon that, first of all, you're not ready for, meaning it's a rental environment, it's very competitive, and there's not a lot of support to help you grow. This is just a place that, gosh, I've seen and experienced, and it saddens me that hairstylists in this place that do end up going into a salon that they're not ready for, that doesn't give them the support they need when they're starting out, leads them to leave the industry. And it breaks my heart because I've been in the industry for a long time, longer than I even thought I would ever be in the industry. And it's provided a wonderful income for me, and it's been I'm my own boss. What you make behind the chair, what you bring in, it's up to you. And most hairstylists that get into the industry, we're independent people. We are artists. We want to be free to do what we want to do. And if we're in an environment that is not supporting us or we're not ready for, we're trying to be more experienced than we are, then it's just going to lead you to a place of feeling unconfident and not really realizing and coming to that place of experiencing what it really truly feels like to be a successful hairstylist. So I'm going to really encourage you to really think long and hard about what type of salon environment that you want to work in. When I started out in a no appointment place, and I didn't really want to start there. I kind of had no choice because I got married really young. I was barely 18 years old, and my husband at the time was in the service. And so we found ourselves moving every 3 to 4 months. And so I really didn't have a chance to establish my career. And so I just kind of fell into that no appointment type environment. And it ended up being really good for me because it really helped me get my hands into hair. I had a structured way of cutting at the time. And it got me comfortable talking to clients and just kind of starting to wear the shoes of a hairstylist and slowly maturing into it. And from there, I had the blessing. I feel like, I always feel like God's always had a hand in my life. When we finally did get stationed somewhere, I ended up working at a salon. It was called Sheer Madness. And it was really the only real nice salon in the town. And the guys that were there, they came from California, and the other one came from Missouri, St. Louis. And they took me under their wing and they taught me a lot. And I was only there a year, but that's been 40 years ago that I worked with them, and I still remember them. And so I was very blessed and always thankful that I had them speak into my life, and I fell into that. It wasn't something that I planned. And so I share that with you because if I had to go back and start over again as a brand new hairstylist, young like that, I would think about where I was going to work, and I would definitely find a place that I could find somebody to mentor me and guide me and show me the ropes. Because this is the stage when you're brand new where you're building your confidence. You're learning your consultation skills, communicating with clients. You're learning how to get consistent with your work, and you're just starting to really hone in on doing hair and, just figuring out who you are as a hairstylist and just getting on solid feet so you feel comfortable. That's where you're at if you're a brand new hairstylist. And I just want to reiterate that if you are a new hairstylist and you're looking on Instagram at all the celebrity stylists or, the people that you look forward to being, I don't want to stop you from, admiring them, but I want to encourage you to know that they went through a journey to get there. It just didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen in just a year. That's just, you gotta earn that. You gotta get the experience and the wisdom to be able to do that and to maintain it, more importantly. The second one is a hairstyle that's been doing it long enough to know that they're just feeling a bit stuck. This is a place where I have a course that I used to do this in person. It was a 3-day cutting course. It's called Cutting with Confidence. And I always thought when I started it that it was for new hairstylists getting out of school, but that wasn't who was signing up for my class. The stylists that were signing up for this class were stylists that had been doing it close to 1.5 to 2 to 3 years. They'd been doing it long enough to know that, hey, I need a little bit of help here. And what they were experiencing was that they were getting clients, and they had some returning clients, but they weren't getting a high return on their clients. That something was wrong. They knew that they needed help being able to communicate. Their confidence, it was kind of hurting a little bit at this level. They felt like they would be farther along. If you are a stylist that you're in this level, you are feeling like maybe I need to get a second job. Maybe I'm not going to be able to make it as a hairstylist. And, some of the reasons for this is that, your expectations weren't real, and you need to be real and be patient with yourself and know that this is okay. This is a stage that, you needed to go through this, to feel this, to humble yourself, to ask for help. And a lot of times this happens at this stage because your pricing isn't in alignment with your skill level and your communication level. A client can see through that right away. If a client you're charging top dollar for your work, and a client that's paying that, they have different expectations than somebody who is paying a lower price for their service. So you want to make sure that your pricing is in alignment with your skill level and your maturity as a hairstylist. And also, if you're in this place, this is the time to seek mentorship. It's okay, even if you've been doing it a few years, to step back and ask for help. I can tell you that that first time I told you that when I was a brand new stylist and I met some mentors, that was just the first time I got mentored. I apprenticed another hairstylist again for close to a year. And that wasn't the last time. I did it again. I apprenticed them, and I was building my chair because I knew I needed the help. I wanted to be successful so bad. And what that took was being humble to ask for help. So what I want to really hit home with this level is that this is where sometimes the answer isn't just more marketing. It's not about, just taking anybody and continually seeing the low retention. It's about improving what happens once the client is in your chair. It's about improving your communication. It's about improving your skills so that you can have those clients that you are wanting to do return, give you the 5-star reviews, and also send you return business. So I'm hoping as we're talking through this today that you're starting to get a little bit of clarity on maybe where you're at in your journey. If you are struggling a bit, maybe kind of starting to get a little bit of clarity on something that maybe you need to work a little bit on. The next one is the stylist that's in a place of rebuilding. I'm super experienced on this one. When you're rebuilding your business, it's like you're thrown back, all the way back to being that new stylist out of school. But depending on where you're at on your journey as a hairstylist is going to depend on how fast you grow. So when I talk about rebuilding my business, I rebuilt my business, 4 times, I guess. And there were a few of them that I skipped the thought process in being a new stylist on finding the right salon environment and working on my skills and enhancing them. And so there was a few times that it took me a lot longer to rebuild when I did, because I ended up working in salons that they weren't a fit for me. And sometimes it wasn't because my skills, it was just simply because my personality and what I wanted in the salon and the type of clients that were going there, they didn't resonate with me at all. And so that really stagnated my growth as a hairstylist, and it really did crush my confidence. So when there was a few times in my career, I almost just threw in the towel. I was like, what am I doing? This is awful. But there was other times where I needed more mentorship, and I knew that. And so I actually went back and I went to an intense cutting program to better my skills, because I knew I needed to charge more. I needed to be able to charge more. I'm a single mom, and I needed to charge more for my work, but I knew that my skills weren't up there. I didn't have the confidence in my communication that spoke to that tier of a client as well. And so I knew I needed to humble myself and go back and get mentored and practice it so that I could become the stylist that I really wanted to be. And I share that with you because I figured that out the hard way. The one thing that I had going for me throughout my career is that I was never too proud to ask for help or to assist or to learn something new. I've been a lifelong learner, and I think as a hairstylist, to continue to grow, you got to be. And gosh, my faith definitely, there's times I was just like, why am I doing this? What am I doing? And it's crazy. God would always have somebody show up in my life and speak into my life and just get me to the next step. And I'm so thankful that I did stick with it and I did learn, because it's been a great career and I want to help you with that. And so if this is all resonating with you, I just want to reiterate that I am doing a live workshop on Monday, June 22nd. It's noon Arizona time. It's a Zoom link. I want to be able to see your faces. It's more of a mastermind. I just want to have conversation with you. I want to walk you through every step that a hairstylist goes through and just help you. I don't know where you're at on your journey, but if you are a hairstylist that is feeling a bit stuck and you just want to figure out how to get to the next step or how to get to your goal, I know that this workshop, you will leave and understand and have clarity on what you need to do next. And if you show up live, I've got some free show up live bonuses that will really help you get yourself going in the right direction and have clarity as well, just to help you have results within the first month after the masterclass. So back to the third stage, which is rebuilding. When you're rebuilding, you're having to go back to, getting clients in your chair. So this is a place where you've really got to have a plan of action. You got to know who it is you're attracting. You've got to really understand your market of who you want to get into your chair and understand where you're at in the area to make sure that you are positioning yourself in the right area where you're at and the right salon environment. And you've got to get yourself visible. So you got to get uncomfortable. That's going to mean getting into networking groups. That's going to mean doing things that you're uncomfortable, talking to people that you don't know and inviting them into your chair. I shared with you that during my rebuilding journey, I found myself going back to, training, getting more training on haircutting so I could be good at it. That was how I rebuilt my business thereon after, whenever I had to rebuild. I found the clients that I wanted to work on. I knew where she shopped. I went to those places. I found people that I would love to have in my chair, and I would approach them and I would invite them into my chair. And the first couple of months, I would offer them free haircut because I needed to get my work out into the world, number one. And I could do that by giving them my time, because I wasn't giving them product or anything like that. I was simply giving them an experience in my chair and giving them a fantastic haircut. And that gave me time to give them, take before and after pictures, so that I could start building social media in the area. And it started getting my work out there. And in essence, that was like the easiest way for me to build. And I'm just telling you now that haircutting is the easiest way to get clients in your chair. I do have a course that I used to do the training for 3 days. It used to be in person for 3 days. I ended up just hiring somebody and actually recording everything that I taught in those classes and just made a course out of it. And you can find it at my website, On Point Hair by Sherry, SHERRI.com. It's called Cutting with Confidence, in case you're interested in that. But anyhow, I hope this episode has given you something to think about, something to encourage you when you're done with this episode is just to kind of sit down. If you've been out on a walk or a jog and listening to this, maybe going home, sitting down, re-listening to it and writing down some of the things I shared with you, because I think that once you see and really are real with yourself on where you are and what you need to do and journal a little bit about it, it's going to help you get to just give you a little more clarity. And that's my hope. You know, when I'm doing these episodes, I'm picturing you working behind the chair and you're doing a client today, but tomorrow you don't have anybody. And you have that feeling in your stomach of, oh my gosh, you know, what am I doing wrong? You know, I hope I get a walk in tomorrow. You know, it's the worst feeling. And so it's my hope that these episodes really speak to you and help you get out of that, because I'm here to tell you that there is an easier way and you will get through it. This is just part of the journey. So, hey, if you're listening to this episode, I want you to ask yourself something. Which one of those stylists sounds most like you right now? Because the truth is, you can't create a plan to get you where you want to go until you're honest about where you're starting from. And that's exactly why I created the Fully Booked Chair Workshop. I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you identify where you are in your hairstylist journey. You're going to figure out what's really keeping you stuck. And most importantly, what you need to be focusing on next. Because building a successful clientele, it's not about trying and doing everything, about working yourself to death. It's about knowing what to focus on right now in this moment. So I'd like for you to be at the workshop. So grab your free seat using the link in the show notes. I'm going to post it in the show notes, but you can also find it on my website, On Point Hair by Sherry, SHERRI.com. And I want to thank you so much for listening to this episode today. It's always my prayer and hope that this has inspired you and giving you reason to take another step forward and to find some confidence and inspiration to become the stylist that you're dreaming of. Have a blessed day. I hope this episode encouraged you today and reminded you that you're not alone behind the chair. And if it helped you, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with another hairstylist who may need encouragement too. And remember, success behind the chair is built one client, one conversation, and one day at a time. I'll see you guys in the next episode.